Dr. Hovind, I love your doctoral thesis. I've torn it to pieces with house and gaffle. I can't remember when I last pissed myself laughing. It's a good thing the thesis mopped the piss off the floor.
Welcome to part 42 of this read-through and peer review of Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation, which was published on wikileaks.org on December 9th, 2009. If you have not yet seen the previous parts in this series, then I recommend that you go back and see those first, as in this episode, I will be starting off exactly where I finished off in the last. In the last episode, Kent managed the almost impossible by plagiarizing himself. That's right. Kent took about 10% of the previous chapter and slapped it straight down in the middle of this chapter, virtually word for word. In this episode, Kent explains evolution. Are we ready? Okay, Kent, take it away. Microevolution is small little changes where there is no change from one kind of organism to another. Okay, Kent, if you say so. Actually, evolution would be a bad term to use. Okay, Kent, what term would you use? Come on, Kent. It can't have the word evolution in it, obviously, because you've just spent the previous 62 pages arguing against evolution and how it's all a religion and how it's evil. You can't think of a better term, can you? Well, if you can, you haven't put it down in your doctoral dissertation, but we'll carry on. Microevolution is only variations within the kind. And what is a kind, Kent? Come on. Describe a kind. You can't, Kent, can you? You just can't, because it's not a definite term. You might as well say that it's variations within a thing. A whatnot, a doodah. Well, Kent, let me be the first to hand you a ball of string and tell you to go over there and play with that lion. After all, it's just a kind of cat. You bloody idiot. Anyway, it proves foresight of the Creator in providing his creatures with the ability to adapt, within limits, to their environment. I don't question that variation exists, I just interpret the evidence as part of God's design. Yes, Kent, because none of this could possibly happen naturally, even though we can precisely describe the process and the mechanism. You just still prefer to attribute it all to your invisible friend. You'll forgive me if I somehow fail to take you seriously, Kent. But anyhow, do go on. I'll give you just one example to help you understand the difference. The difference between what, Kent? And do you think one example's going to be enough? Oh, you don't know and you do. Okay, carry on. Let's suppose we let loose 500 canaries on an island. Would those be the Canary Islands, Kent? The only food for the canaries to eat on that island are nuts with a relatively tough shell around them. Yes, Kent, because there's nothing quite like biodiversity, is there? What you're basically describing, Kent, is an island with essentially one kind of tree on it, a nut tree. Any other clue as to what kind of nut tree, Kent? Coconut, perhaps? Carry on. Only the canaries that had a tough beak would be able to eat the nuts and survive. The others would starve to death. Well, that or fly to another island. After all, they do have wings. But whatever. Therefore, those that had the tougher beaks would be able to reproduce the next generation. Yes, Kent, that's correct. If we came back to that island in about 200 years, we would find that all of the canaries on the island have tough beaks. Yes, Kent. Surprisingly enough, that is, in fact, exactly how evolution by means of natural selection works. What's that, Kent? That is not evolution. Yes it is, Kent. That is most definitely evolution. That is simply variation. No, Kent, it isn't variation. You see, Kent, all of the birds have tough beaks. There is no variation. Are you bleeding mental? You would still have canaries. Well, yes, Kent, what did you expect? Elephants? The trait of having a tough beak was in the genetic structure to begin with. Yes, Kent, that's correct. Nobody's arguing that. Nothing new has been added. No, Kent, it hasn't. We have only selected a certain portion of the population to survive. That is variation, not evolution. No, Kent, that is selection. Variation has essentially been removed, and all of the population now have tough beaks. They have evolved to be tuft-beaked birds. This isn't difficult, but those canaries will never, given all the time you want, will never change into elephants or dinosaurs or trees or tomatoes. Kent, find me one, just one scientist who's ever said that tomatoes evolved from canaries, and I'll let you borrow my clue stick to beat 7 bells of sense out of him. You complete and utter fucking retard. Kent goes on. If they did, that would be macroevolution. No, Kent, that'd be fucking magic. Oh dear. Kent, I absolutely fail to understand how you could have possibly have read any of those school textbooks which go on to explain evolution as you said you have read and still come out with that dumb fucking statement. Can you understand my utter frustration? Kent, that is a straw man so big you could put Edward Woodward inside it and set fire to it. To make that kind of statement, you can only have been holding a banana in one hand and a jar of peanut butter in the other. But anyway, Kent, pray do tell us more. Microevolution is small little variations between the species that have been in the genetic structure by. Kent, if you're going to just copy straight text out of somebody else's work, then remove specific words. Try and remove all of them, okay? It is plain and clear to anybody who reads this that the 2 words you've removed are introduced and mutation. Of course, leaving them in there would completely destroy your argument. But carry on. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the terms that are used today about evolution. Yes, it is, Kent. The processes, the mechanisms are exactly the same. It can only be said that your inability to grasp this is completely and utterly astounding.